Good morning. It's Morning Oasis, and let's see. It's Wednesday, I believe. No, it's Tuesday. It's Tuesday. It's the 17th of January. You guys, when I wake up in the morning, I am coming back from so many places that it just takes me a little while to come in to today. You might hear a little bit of noise. We are like perpetually in snow days in Portland, and it's a beautiful day. Like right this moment when I look outside, there's amazing clouds. I almost want to show you guys. Morning, Teresa. Sorry I was not here yesterday. I was returning from the most amazing journey, you guys. I can't even describe. You know, one of the things that happens when we make walking with spirit, walking with source, walking connected with ourselves, a daily practice, is it turns into, oh, I have a slow connection right now, you guys. I could try something to fix that. Let's see what happens if I can move the camera a little bit. I'm going to see if it works to switch this all the way around. Okay, good. Let's see if the camera reorients. Nope, it didn't. Okay, so let's see. Is this any faster of a connection when I plug it into my computer? You guys have to let me know because I don't know. It's, okay, great. So then I'm going to put the phone back because it's an easier spot. It sits well there. Okay. Good morning, Laura. All right, let's see. Let's get this a little bit more up. You guys, I have to tell you all, I am struggling to get that Christmas tree down. Like, as unmotivated as I was to decorate that thing, I am equally unmotivated to take that thing down. Seriously. Okay, so let's see. Journeying. So when we walk with spirit and we make that commitment that every day we're going to just show up and whatever it is that's there, we're going to do, right? So a friend of mine called me on Saturday and was like, oh, I'm snowed in and I really need this book. Thank you, Andrea. Thank you. I know I was just at somebody else's house yesterday, and this is what's given me the courage to even say it really was he was just taking down his tree and he's like, I can't believe it's been up this long. And I laughingly told him that my tree has only been decorated for 2 weeks. Oh, maybe 3 now. Because I didn't decorate it till Christmas Eve. And now it's like I can't get the thing out of here because we keep waiting for the tree day at the school where it's the tree recycling, but they keep having to postpone it because of the weather. It's just snowpocalypse in Portland. It's hilarious, you guys. It's hilarious because I have actually lived in snowier places. Like, you know, I lived in Bend for years. I used to work on Mount Bachelor. I used to drive my little Geo Metro, like my 1992 Geo Metro, I think it was, up Mount Bachelor at 5 a.m. before the snow plows, oftentimes in the snow. And it was hilarious. The guys would come in the morning to get coffee because they'd plow up to my lodge and then they get coffee and then they go on. And they'd always be like, I saw your little Metro tracks. I can't believe you get that thing up there. I would like plow a little bit with my Metro. It was hilarious. So yeah, this is crazy. And you know, we went journeying. Yeah. So my friend asked me to bring a textbook to her from my neighborhood to her neighborhood. And then coming back, it just so happened that I was able to deliver her child from her mother's to her father's. And it was just this little beautiful gift that I was able to do and participate and have yummy food and be in this amazing house and meet a couple of really amazing people. So then she messages me and she says, hey, you know, a friend of mine invited me to a sweat up at their house in Washington. And I was like, I've always wanted to do that. I've always wanted to go to a sweat. I never have had the opportunity. And a part of it is because I go on guidance, right? Because I always pretty much have operated that way. I used to be called impulsive. I used to allow that to be a part of my identity, being impulsive, being inconsistent, what else was I called? Dissociative, all of these things. But the truth was, I was always operating on that guidance. I just didn't give myself permission to be okay with that. So she says, you want to go? Yes, everything's in alignment, timing, people, it felt right. I got a big old yes to go using my compass. This is the appropriate time. So I jumped on board. I was like, yes, let's go. And she said, I think it's like about an hour and a half drive. And I was thinking in my mind, because of the snow, it might be like a 3-hour drive, right? So we go, and as soon as we got out of Portland, the roads are clear. Like, the roads are clear, everything is clear. It's crazy. It's like Portland itself is the snow bomb. It's horrible here. The roads are horrible. And out there, it's perfect. It's beautiful. So we had this amazing journey. We went up to a place that I've wanted to go deeper into since I went camping at it. Oh, God, it was wonderful. And I want to throw one more thing out there. So right before, the night before going, there were a lot of challenges that came into play. Like, one, my son has a cough and it's not going away, and it seemed like it was getting a little bit worse that night, and I kind of didn't want to leave him, However, he's had the cough for 3 weeks, and everybody I know is kind of struggling with this cough, and I checked in with my compass, and yes, he's going to be fine, and I included him energetically in my own personal healing through the weekend as much as he gave me permission for, because he's pretty independent. And I talked to a good friend, and her first response was, be careful. I said, what are you talking about? Why? Of what? And she said, well, somebody just died in a sweat lodge because they weren't dehydrated, so you should be careful. And my immediate response was that, like, personalization response. Like, first of all, I'm not a friggin' idiot. Second of all, I'm not like you. I actually drink water all the time, right? These are all my defenses. These are my mirrors that say I am separate from you. This is kind of what we were talking about, that little piece of Morning Oasis I did yesterday. All of these mirrors came up, and I was like, I wanted to react to this, but it was this seed of fear that was planted in me. And that, plus just whenever you're going to come to a major healing, what happens is all of your stuff that's going to get worked on comes to the surface. And it's like it challenges you. Are you really ready to let me go? Are you really ready to let this go? Are you really ready to face these things? Like, are you looking? And we can choose to protect ourselves and go into the autopilot mechanisms, or we can choose to allow, right? So instead of responding to her the way I instinctually wanted to respond, the way my autopilot mechanism of self-protection and self-preservation of those systems, right? Those little pieces of ourselves, I call them my girls. Some of them are little boys, some of them feel a little more like animals, but those fractured states of my persona, my consciousness, they're trying to make sure I'm aware and make sure I'm committed and make sure I know what I'm going to be getting into, how severe it is. So the more stuff that comes up, the more I know I'm going to be working on, So everything kind of got in the way. Everything just got interfered. And exactly, Holly, because that's where I was going next with this. Every single session I have, I swear, it either gets canceled, postponed, or it becomes a negotiation of, I can't get into the room, I can't do this, I can't, how do I? And sometimes it's me, and sometimes it's them, and sometimes it's beyond our control. Sometimes my phone goes missing, my phone, my iPad, and my internet connection goes down. I mean, like, sometimes everything gets in the way. And it depends upon how prepared is that person, how ready are they. This is not a judgment, by the way. This is an awareness and an allowance. It's because when we come into that state of agreement where we say, I'm going to work on this, I'm going to bring everything I have out to work on, to look at, to see the truth of, to understand the nature of. I'm going to bring it all up to the surface, and I invite the universe to assist me in that. And how does it do that? In this creation, we're in a polarized, black and white, good and bad, external, internal system here. That's what the three-dimensional system, this fourth density expression that we live in right now is. We're going to have that show us on the external so we can understand the internal. We're going to have the mirrors reflect to us. And I instead in that moment pulled that awareness out, because when we walk in source, when we walk grounded and connected, when we walk flowing, and the more practice you do at this, the easier it gets. When we walk this way, we actually can pause time while we process and react. And that's kind of what I did. I pulled myself back. I went through all of this stuff. And then I re-engaged back into the creation, and I said, thank you. Thanks for letting me know about that. I'll make sure I drink plenty of water, because it's really important to, at a sweat, stay hydrated. And I didn't need to engage in that way. I didn't need to walk away with the anger. However, I did walk away with the seed of fear. It kept me up all night. My internal struggle of, am I going to be okay? Am I not going to be okay? Am I going to be okay? Am I not going to be okay? And I didn't have an ounce of that fear before I committed, even finding out the journey was much longer than we thought, twice as far as we thought, knowing we were going to probably have to stay the night or drive through the middle of the night to get back. All of these things coming together challenged me at every step of the way. Are you sure you're ready? Are you really committed? So through the night, I'm just processing all of this. And it was really a struggle to get up in the morning, because I probably only got maybe 2 or 3 hours of sleep that night. So, and I was cranky. Oh yeah, that's right. And my washing machine broke. Okay. So before I went to bed, I wanted to make sure, when you participate in ceremony, first of all, I'm a fairly modest person. I tend to, as you see, be fairly covered most of the time. Not because, I'm ashamed or whatever about my body. I love my body. But because I believe my vessel is sacred. It's something just like I treat other sacred objects. My cards are in sacred pouches, right? They're protected, or they're in a box. I protect my body too, and in the sense, not protect it from, keeping things away, but in the sense of this is my covering, right? When I put my clothing on, that's one of the reasons that I make so many of my garments. I'm always wearing at least one garment that I've made, because I want to be cloaked in my own garmentry, my own sacred covering. So, I wanted my clothing for my ceremony to be appropriate, as well as knowing that I'm participating in another culture. He's a medicine man, so I wanted to be as respectful of this process as I could be, as I knew to be. But right when we go into another culture, we're kind of like a new babe, and we don't know anything. So I decided I wanted to wash some things, and the washing machine, our washing machine, which we sometimes have incredible struggles with, my son and I both, decides it's going to hold everything in the water. It's not going to drain, and it's not going to spin. It agitated, but that was it. It wasn't going to keep flowing out. Now, that's a metaphor for me, right? And that's the part where my weight is still being held in the vessel. My cells are holding the water and agitating. They're not flowing out. So, and I've had this told to me before by a wizard. He said, oh, your water taps, they're all closed. You need to open up your water taps. There was like 4 on my front and 1 on my back. So I did that and dropped a bunch of weight. Some other things started to happen, and they just got closed automatically. I didn't even think about it. But I started to put the weight back on, and I felt my pants were getting tighter again, and I'm like, what's going on? And immediately, as soon as I asked, what's going on? I'm in allowance. I want to know. I see the tap closed, and I was like, "Oh, are my taps closed with my compass?" Oh, yes, they are. Oh, open them all up, and okay, are they all open? No. Oh, the back, right? That's how I use the compass on a daily basis, all the time. So anyway, the washing machine won't drain. In the moment, all I could think was, he needs to get a goddamn washing machine. I have said this over and over, and I am furious. So now I'm staying up later and later as I restart the cycle to try to get it to continue, because that's the only way to do it. And it stops at the same point every time for me. And so now I'm up. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'm just furious. And I start it one more time, and I go to bed, and I just am like, okay, come on, you guys, like, I'm in alignment. Like, I want to go. I want to release. I want to flow. Like, open the taps, right? So I wake up at 4, of course, to check. It's still not going. So I'm like beyond angry at this point. I've been up most of the night worrying about whether this will even work, and I yell at my husband, and I wake him up and make him go do it, because he's the only one that can actually make it do it, because he's a make it happener. Which is why he won't replace the machine. So I'm just like so mad, and we fight the whole night, right? Because now he's been woken up and I'm not going back to sleep. So